comic enthusiasts! Welcome back to HC Comics, your gateway to the colorful and captivating world of comics. Today, we're embarking on the next exciting chapter of this comic series together. Wishing you all some relaxing moments as we dive into HC Comics adventure. Returning to the main developments of the story, in this episode, we start with the scene.
I think your highness is an amazing person. Anyway, when is ERGI coming? Did you deliver my letter to him safely? I did, your highness. Your majesty, have you heard? Duke ERGI Claude arrived at the palace today. I'm sure her majesty is already aware of this, Laura. Does her majesty also know WHO the Duke was with all day? Since Duke ERGI is well known for being close friends with Prince Heinrey. Prince Heinrey? No, he was with the slave girl, Rashta. Apparently, they spent the whole day together. I heard they seemed to get along well. And they both ended up getting involved in an incident that took place earlier today.
They were taking a walk together when a nobleman humiliated Rashta by asking the Duke if he knew she was a runaway slave. And then, almost before he finished speaking, Duke ERGI punched him.
Thank you for what you did today, Your Grace.
There's no need to thank me. I simply taught a scoundrel some manners.
Well, I am very grateful. You must have heard what he said earlier. I've been distressed lately because this false rumor about me has been spreading.
ERGI Claude, member of the BLUVOHAN royal family, does this kind of thing happen to you often? Damn them all to hell. They've got some nerve to say you're a slave to your face. And even if that were true, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I should have given them more of a beating.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Your Highness.
That sounds quite scary, Your Grace. But I'm glad I ran into you first. I actually came here to meet a friend.
I doubt you would have been able to deal with that scoundrel properly if I hadn't been there. Though I'm sure my friend is throwing a fit right now because I'm late. He has quite the temper, you see.
In any case, it would be best if people stopped spreading these lies, but it's unlikely that fools like that will suddenly stop talking nonsense. I suggest you deal with the problem as soon as possible.
There's nothing I can do. Even though the man WHO started the rumor made it clear it wasn't true, nobody believes him. Then make someone else the target. That will be faster than trying to respond to the rumors. What do you mean? You're currently everyone's #1 target.
So if you can get people talking about someone else, everyone will attack them instead.
I found this note when I woke up this morning. What does it mean? I need to do well. The meeting about establishing diplomatic relations with Luid is happening today. Of the 8 continents across the world, there are 2 continents where we don't know if they are inhabited. Contact with the other remaining continents is infrequent. The continent of WOL, where the Eastern Empire is situated, and the continent of Wa, where Luid is located, are closer than other continents, but they are still very far apart. You must have been taken aback by my sudden tears. It takes at least half a year to travel between the 2 continents. This is why we have not been able to reach a decision on whether to establish diplomatic ties. This meeting is adjourned. The only thing that was decided during that meeting was that I've been appointed to resolve this. Grand Duke Kaufman, do you have a minuity? There's something I'd like to ask you.
Go ahead, Your Majesty.
Why did you recommend appointing me to oversee this matter?
Is it something you don't want to do?
I'm merely asking out of curiosity. A few days ago, you
I haven't changed my mind about what I said.
told me that I was a fool if I didn't protect what is mine.
He has some nerve to smile like that after saying something so offensive.
Why is that?
But there's nobody else in this palace that I think would do a better job than Your Majesty. Your Majesty was the only one WHO understood me when I talked about the IMONA and IMOTE.
That's the only reason he recommended me? I'm sure I told you when we last spoke, but I only know a handful of words of LUIPTIAN. I'm not just saying this to be polite.
Yes, but that's a lot more than what most people know. Does he really think it's fine for me to lead this important work just because I know a few words of LUIPTIAN? Now, if you'll excuse me, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, since a false rumor that I'm a runaway slave started to spread, to tell you the truth, people started being cruel to me.
He looked upset during the meeting as well. You look troubled. Is something wrong?
Empress, do you find foreigners attractive?
People WHO were nice to me before. Lady Rashtai are now laughing at me and mocking me. But Your Highness treats me the same as before. Of course, we aren't on good terms, but still, I was moved.
Oh, is that so? They must have mocked her quite badly if she finds this touching. Swivel, good day. Oh dear, Your Highness, wait for me. Don't you think you're being too cold, Your Highness? Well, I take your point. Do you expect me to be friendly to someone who tried to deceive me?
That is none of your concern, Your Majesty.
Empress, do you find foreigners attractive?
I didn't even have time to eat lunch. I wonder if Queen came to visit. Russell, I'm not sure. WHO, could that be? Your Majesty, you have some approaching Her Majesty. I have to tell you something. I may not be Your Majesty's lady-in-waiting any longer, but it would weigh on my conscience if I didn't inform you of this. I believe Viscount La Teshu is holding something over Rashta's head. Rashta. Your Majesty. May I ask Your Majesty a question? You may. Is she a woman of loose morals by any chance? Did she really just ask me that? It's Abolit Duchess Tuania. Duchess Tuania? But, Duchess Tuania is a good person and a good friend. She's always surrounded by men and it seems like she enjoys the attention. I don't think that's proper for a married woman. Parties. It probably just seems that way because men and women partner with each other to dance at parties. Oh, I'm not asking this to say something bad about her. It's just because I have no idea. She's certainly not someone WHO will behave with impropriety. So don't speak of the matter again. Yes, Your Majesty. And yet he made Rashta his mistress without even asking me for my opinion.
How can I not be concerned? You are my wife.
Why did she ask me about the Duchess? Do you know if here have been any bad rumors about Duchess Tuania recently? A lovesick puppy after dancing with the Duchess during the New Year's ceremony. I thought that perhaps Rashta was planning on creating gossip about someone else to take the focus away from her. Let me know right away if you hear any questionable rumors. I will, Your Majesty. It's probably best that we quickly take care of our tasks and leave the day before since it takes several hours to get to the Imperial Villa. Don't you agree? I beg your pardon? Oh, you're talking about my birthday trip.
You really have a one-track mind when you're preoccupied with work. Is it all right with you if we leave the day before? Yes, I will rearrange my schedule accordingly. Do you remember the tree that we planted at the Imperial Villa? It was a tree that grants you wishes. More specifically, it was a tree that grows in our empire that makes your wish come true if you wish upon it. When I was the crown princess, I wanted to plant the tree so I could wish that I'd grow taller. Your Highness, if you plant it, then it won't be my wish. Fill the hole up again. We're husband and wife. If you're married, it's like you are one with your partner, so it doesn't matter which of us dug it.
Is that true?
And that's how we planted the tree. That I'd become taller. Yup. What did you wish for? Are you that smitten with Grand Duke Kaufman? You seem to be sighingover him.
Please don't get the wrong idea. We were simply discussing the LUIPT situation. We were scolded heavily because I caught a bad cold and SOVIESHU hurt his hand as a result.
It seems the wishing tree granted your wish to grow taller. Sovieshu.
What I actually wished for that day wasn't to grow taller. I wished that I'd always have a good relationship with SOVIESHU. But it didn't come true.
5 days before Navier's birthday, numerous presents started arriving. A magazine about thespians featuring only men that my mother sent. She probably wants me to distract myself by taking on a lover of my own. Rare books, luxurious clothes, gems, and a love potion.
How suspicious. COO. Did you carry this all by yourself? You know, I didn't think HEINREY was such a cruel master. He should have brought this over himself or sent someone to deliver it. Why are you shaking your head? Do you not like it when someone talks badly about your master? After the meeting on LUIPT, I met with officials from each department to agree the budget for the year. There are no changes to the tax system planned. There is also no rise in inflation. I suggest that overall, we can aim for a similar budget to last year since I don't foresee any border conflicts with other nations. So we can just recycle last year's budget plan. The tax revenue is similar to the revenue from last year. Deciding how much to budget for the mistress. The only thing that's left is, it would be easy to calculate if we had records of how much has been spent on Lady Rashta. As no funds have been allocated yet, it is probably recorded in His Majesty's ledgers.
Lady Marty was from a commoner family. Her situation is also similar in that she became a mistress at the start of the Emperor's reign. I don't think we can base the budget on that because of inflation. Your Highness, Her Majesty wishes to see you. Let her in.
Was he about to take a bath?
His eyes look red. Could he really have been crying? I apologize for making you wait, Your Majesty. I was in the middle of something.
I don't know where to look.
He reminds me of Queen for some reason. Did you receive the cake?
I did. I came to say thank you. Did you really bake it yourself?
Yes. Cooking and baking are my hobbies. I even have my own kitchen in my palace.
I've never read, so I suppose I must be a bad cook.
Are you a good cook? Would you like a cup of tea?
They say a good cook and a bad cook are a match made in heaven. So it seems Your Majesty and I are a good match. It seems you don't have the same expression in the Eastern Empire. Ove never beamed of such a saying. No, we don't. I see Your Majesty won't even humor me. Actually, I wanted to see how Queen was doing. He was crying when he left.
I'm afraid Queen is out hunting. He was crying a little when he returned, but he was fine soon after. Is that so? But his knight was worried about Queen returning in tears earlier.
Why are you the one getting embarrassed? Then that is a relief. I must get going now. How did you like my gift? It was a nice gift. Thank you, my queen. You didn't think it was too much? Shocked. How did he know I felt that way?
I thought that you might think it was too much because we haven't known each other for long. However, the Western Empire exports a lot of gems, and since most of the mines are owned by the crown, I hope you won't feel too uncomfortable accepting it.
I think I understand why people get the wrong impression that you are a womanizer. I beg your pardon? It's probably because you are so warm-hearted and thoughtful. I'm not a womanizer, Your Majesty.
Those rumors are all because of my friend. He is the real womanizer.
Are you talking about Duke Ergi?
So you know about him?
I haven't heard anything about Prince Heinrey spending time with Duke Ergi after he arrived. Most of what I've heard about the Duke has actually been about his association with Rashta.
Did they have a falling out, perhaps? Your Majesty, I actually have a favor to ask of you. Please make sure you don't catch Duke Ergi's EYE.
What's the reason? All the women that have been linked to him end up facing some kind of misfortune. It would be best if Your Majesty avoided getting involved with him. Sometimes I wonder if he's cursed. Gi Tao, but you are so captivating even when you aren't doing anything.
But I do mean it. Please bear what I said in mind. Please refrain from looking this beautiful in front of him.
But this is the day before Navier's birthday.
Sovietshu? Why doesn't he have any luggage or attendants with him? Some urgent business came up. Can you go on ahead of me? If it's serious, we can cancel the trip. It won't take that long. Go ahead and relax at the villa, and I will join you as soon as I finish.
I hope Your Majesties will be able to repair your relationship on this trip. It's possible for nobles to divorce if they judge the consequences to be worthwhile. But are you saying that's not an option for me? No matter how angry you are with His Majesty, it's not possible for you to ask for a divorce first. So you want me to mend our relationship since it's impossible to get a divorce? Does she feel bad for me because I can't even divorce him? But even if I could divorce Sovieshu, I wouldn't want to. My goal in life ever since I was young was to become an empress, and I was educated accordingly. So I can put up with this much. But one thing I won't be able to accept is if all of my hard work and the fruits of my efforts are stolen from me by Sovieshu's lover. A bit too much. Queen, why are you crying? The South Palace. I'll thank him and take the opportunity to ask how Queen is doing. Prince Heinrey's quarters. It should be fine as long as I don't stay for too long.
Oh my, Your Majesty. Ankward laugh. It looks like he already knows about my relationship with Prince Heinrey. Did the prince tell him?
I came here to tell Prince Heinrey something. Is he in? I'm sure he will be discreet since he's one of the prince's men.
It is a good thing you came, Your Majesty. I was worried about His Highness as he came back in tears.
Prince Heinrey was crying?
Oh, no. No. I meant the bee bird. The naughty little bird that belongs to His Highness.
Your Majesty.
I did. Rest up while I'm gone. Rashta.
I'll see you off. So then What's that box, Your Majesty? It's pretty.
It's my gift to the Empress.
The Empress? She's also going to the villa?
Yes, the trip is for her birthday, after all.
I didn't know it was the Empress's birthday.
The Empress prefers to not make a big fuss about it. Most people don't know it's her birthday unless they are close to her or unless they're her relatives.
It seems you're unhappy that you didn't know about ITLINTIL now. It's because in spite of everything, I think of her as my family. I wish I had gotten her something. You have a big heart.
Alright then.
I'll see you when I come back, RASHTA. Can't you take me with you? You want to go? Yes, I didn't get her anything. I'm sure she will feel disappointed if I didn't even wish her a happy birthday.
I want to come along. I think she'd prefer it if you didn't come. It's a family party, and I'm also part of the family. I'm sorry.
I told the Empress that we'd spend her birthday together, just the two of us.
Oh dear, are you sulking?
There's not a woman in the whole world WHO wouldn't sulk if their lover spent time alone with another woman.
Wow, your majesty looks very dashing.
We can go to the villa another time with just the two of us. Will that make you feel better? Ooh, when? On my birthday?
Sure.
It might be more fun in a big group. But I also like spending time with your majesty. How about we have a party with a lot of guests and then we spend time alone after that?
Haha, okay.
Have a safe trip, your majesty. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. The emperor and the empress are in a classic marriage of convenience. I'll have a glass of champagne and go to bed. Isn't it unfair for everyone else if your majesty looks this dashing on top of everything else? You really know how to flatter me.
Navier's bedchamber in the imperial villa.
Oh, right, it's my birthday. SOVIESHU must still be on his way here. You read even when you're on vacation? That your majesty, did you just arrive?
Yes, I did. I'm exhausted.
Oh, I just remembered. I want your majesty to look at this. Your majesty, you have a slight fever. I think you should get some rest. Let's see, is there a physician here? That's the BLUVOHAN crest. Wow, your majesty is so smart. You recognized it right away. But anyway, why do you look so dapper today? He didn't even ask, WHO gave it to me.
Didn't I tell you a few days ago that I was going to the imperial villa?
You said you'd be back the day after tomorrow, right? Your majesty, did you quarrel with his majesty? Send for a doctor. His majesty seems to have a fever. Yes, your majesty. I wish to dine alone today. Is that all right with you? I have no appetite. Queen, you came all this way for me? Queen, is he trying to comfort me? I read that animals can sometimes sense emotions. I don't know what I'd do without you, Queen. Where did Prince HEINREY find a lovely bird like you? Maybe I should get a bird that's the same species as you. Queen, if you get a little brother or sister, will you be nice to them? Your majesty, his majesty has collapsed. What? Where is his majesty now? Lou Auntie, I moved him to an unoccupied room and called for a physician. And, send someone to the capital to ask for the emperor's physician. We might need him. Nod and give Queen some water since he flew a long way. Queen, drink some water and rest up before going back. Okay? Right away.
But here you are asking me for money before you've even done anything for me. I'm raising your child. Don't you think you should give me some financial support?
What for?
Don't you know how expensive it is to feed, clothe, and raise a child?
It's only right that you pay for all of that. How much do you need?
Let's see, maybe 100 kra will do. It costs money to house him and feed him. If you don't have enough cash, I'll also accept gems as payment. Here, ooh, they are quite beautiful.
I should find out more about that child before he asks for something more expensive. If that baby isn't actually mine, then I'll. Oh, and RASHTA. Let me give you a word of advice.
The Emperor and Empress went to the Imperial Villa together yesterday, didn't they? I'm sure they will have a great time together.
The Empress might even use this time to try and win the Emperor back. What are you saying?
Empress, I'm sure you of all people know exactly what I mean. Poor RASHTA. You have no one looking out for you. You'll be chased away from the palace once the Emperor no longer has any interest in you.
Lady RASHTA, His Majesty might not be able to return tomorrow. What? Why not? Isn't today the Empress's birthday? His Majesty is Linwell. Someone arrived from the villa and immediately left with the Emperor's physician. His Majesty is unwell. It's nothing serious. There's no need to worry. I'm sure they will have a great time together. Oh, are they just saying that so they can spend more time together? But if he's really ill, then that's worrying, too. Can I go to the villa, too? I want to help look after His Majesty. Well, I'm very sorry, but it's not my place to grant your request. Oh.
I see how it is. But if the Emperor and Empress need your help, they will send for you. I see. That was 4 days ago already. You've been looking lipset for the past few days. Are you alright? I'm not alright. Why is that? Is it because Emperor Sovia Shu is ill? That's one of the reasons. I also feel sorry for the Empress. Why? She can't leave the villa because she has to nurse His Majesty. But His Majesty will only be thinking of me even when he's ill. I feel lineasy knowing that. Why are you laughing? Oh, sorry. It was such an obvious lie. I was being serious. Unfortunately for you, I'm well versed when it comes to matters of the heart. But no matter, that was pretty cute of you just now. Sometimes, I feel like you're just a companion and not my spouse. Well, a spouse is also a companion for life. It seems you are worried that their majesties will become close again. What if you do this? If they are the same thing, then there's no need to get married, is there? That was another criticism, right?
Is that what it sounded like?
Was it not? It wasn't.
There's no need to send for her. She will be disappointed. Isn't that a good thing for you though? It would serve her right if she felt disappointed. But if she came, then I could go back to the palace and catch up on my work. The things she says are fascinating and CLITE. Place, but she's not a calming presence. I just want some peace and quiet right now. She's going to feel hurt. Your Majesty.
RASHTA.
Have someone bring over the backlog of paperwork. Yes, Your Majesty.
After coming back from the villa, I had to catch up on all my work as well as taking on some of Soviashu's work while he recovered. Get well soon, Your Majesty my queen. So the next few days went by in a blur.
Sovieshu hasn't been making any outrageous requests on Rashta's behalf lately. If only it stayed this way.
There is a small mansion called Crystal House, not far from the main palace. In the past, it was where the Emperor's mistresses resided, but it's now a venue the nobles can rent for events. Oh dear, it seems I'm late. It's cold, Your Majesty. It's an honor to finally meet you. Are you Duke Ergi Claude? I'm amazed you knew WHOI was right away.
Good afternoon, Your Majesty. I didn't know that you would be coming with Lady Rashta.
I thought that it would be helpful for her to attend a party hosted by a social butterfly like yourself. You don't mind, do you?
If I leave now, it will be the talk of the town for at least a week. By the way, have you heard the news about Baron Riven? I have. He's finally divorcing the Duchess after he kept asking her to accept his illegitimate child as his heir. As you know, the Duchess is from the Duchy of Crom. Isn't Baroness Riven Lady Alicia's younger sister? I heard she went back to the duchy with the children. What is Lady Alessia doing these days? Ceremony, but WHO is Lady Alessia?
I know. I was awake when he said that.
The physician said you've been working too much. My predecessor?
She's like your predecessor. She was the mistress of His Majesty the late Emperor.
If Lady Alicia's sister is a duchess, does that mean she's also a noblewoman?
Yes. Lady Alessia caught the eye of His Majesty the late Emperor at a ball.
Then what is Lady Alessia doing now?
Well, I'm not too sure.
Lady Alessia, I heard she was kicked out of the palace. It was very unfortunate.
The late Emperor grew tired of her very quickly. She was in the Emperor's favor for a much shorter period compared to the other mistresses. And it all ended quite badly.
I'm sorry for ruining your birthday. It seems we shouldn't have taken this trip. I heard it's common for nobles to have lovers outside of their marriage. So it seems that's true.
Well, it's true that there are more married couples WHO have other lovers than couples WHO don't. Unless they are a good match like Countess Eliza and her husband, that is.
I see, so it's very common.
It's BECALISE, it's conventional to marry for convenience.
Actually, I was really shocked to hear that Duchess Tuania has 5 lovers. But since that's nothing out of the ordinary, it's like I stepped into a whole new world.
I'm sorry, Duchess.
Did I say something inappropriate? I'm sorry. She's not yet familiar with the slightly forced manners that are required in polite society. She says things exactly as she hears them. Next time you bring someone who has no sense of decorum, you should teach them basic etiquette at the very least, and not just let them spread groundless rumors.
Oh no, are you upset?
I'm calling an end to the party. I apologize, Your Majesty, for inviting you to an event that turned out to end on a sour note.
It comes around every year. Please don't worry about it. But you only have one birthday this year.
Oh no, please don't blame yourself. You didn't know, as Duchess Tuania has been dominating the social scene for more than 20 years, she has a lot of enemies.
Don't worry about it too much. It's only because she is highly regarded and popular that nobody can easily say anything bad about her.
I can tell this won't die down for a while. When I talk to you, it's like, did you know you're pretty good at getting subtle barbs in? It's like talking to a companion. Your physician said you must rest here for a few more days. Should I send for RASHTA?
Will this be enough to get people to turn on Duchess Tuania? I've been waiting here for 3 hours. You must be really busy.
He waited here for 3 hours? For me? What's the matter?
I'm glad we can cut to the chase. Are you aware that I'm a friend of Heinrich's? I see.
I am.
I heard Heinrey talk about Your Majesty a couple of times. Did he mention me as well?
He didn't tell me very much about you. Did he say anything odd? What do you mean? By that, I mean, did he say anything negative?
He always says bad things about me to people he's fond of. This is what always happens. He says I am cursed.
I don't know why you're telling me this.
It's because I could tell that Your Majesty and Heinrey aren't the type to imove in the same circles.
Heinrey and I are the shallow type. He could tell even though we hardly spoke to each other?
The difference between me and Heinrey is that he has no decency and wants someone who is the complete opposite of him. While I know my place and only socialize in a shallow way with shallow people.
Are you saying I shouldn't be friends with Prince Heinrey?
No, this is just the beginning. I'm sure you can keep going on your own now. Haha no, I just came to give you a word of advice. Smile on his face. Lean, you shouldn't trust all the sweet things he says.
Aren't you one of Prince Heinrey's closest friends?
He was the one who invited me here in the first place. Did he tell you that for the past few years, he's been preparing? Oh dear, good day, Your Majesty. I'm sure of it now. One of them is from the Western Empire, one of them is from LUIPT, and the other one is from BLUVOHAN. You clearly are attracted to foreigners. Is that right?
I'm not very good at this kind of thing.
It seems you don't know this because you haven't been with any other men besides me. But simply saying the right things doesn't make someone a good man.
Then what kind of man would you say is a good man? Me?
Anyway, I'd appreciate it if you could be more careful in future. Then I'll also
look for a beautiful young lover who is from our empire. If that's what you want. Honestly. So he sees nothing wrong with taking RASHTA as a mistress, but he doesn't want to hear about me taking a lover? What was he about to say? Was he talking about a plan? Anyway, for the past few years, he's been preparing. I should ask him myself.
That was cute, but...
Your Majesty. Your Majesty?
I'm sorry.
Is something on your mind? Are you thinking about affairs of the state? Then what is it? Although I doubt he's going to tell me.
RASHTA. Are you close to Duke Ergi?
Yes, I am. Is he also close to the Empress? Why do you ask?
Because I saw them having a very friendly conversation together this afternoon.
This afternoon. I need to go somewhere for a bit. It must have been when he left.
Could it be? What if I do this? Should I try seducing the Empress? I told you I don't get fooled easily by that kind of ACT.
Is he really going to seduce the Empress for me? Rashta? I told him not to. No, the Empress and Duke Ergi are not close.
Is that so?
Of course. It's BECALISE. The Duke is my friend.
You are so gentle and innocent.
Are you trying to help the Empress in case I get the wrong idea about her? Ah, was it obvious?
By the way, I see you're not wearing the ring I gave you these days.
Ring? The ring with the red gem on it. Don't you remember? What? Oh, yes. Is he talking about the ring I gave Lotteshu? He's not going to ask to see it right now, is he?
That ring has a spell on it. If you keep wearing it, your scars will disappear.
What? Oh no, what a waste. Flop.
Rashta, anyway, I need to go somewhere for a bit.
I had no idea, so I gave it to a poor servant. Your Majesty, are you going to think I'm shameless if I ask you for a similar ring?
Well, the other one belongs to the Empress.
If I find a similar ring, I'll give it to you. You don't need to come with me.
Your Majesty, what did you do with the ring I gave you a few days ago? All right, what do you need me to do? I need you to find some dirt on Duchess Tuania.
Good afternoon, Your Majesty. Good afternoon, Your Majesty.
What is it?
Your Majesty already has Prince Heinrey as a close friend, so I'd appreciate it if you could leave Duke Ergi alone. He's the one WHO approached me. What? Duke Ergi was the only one WHO believed me and took my side when I was backed into a corner. So what's your point? I meant nothing by it. Please don't take this the wrong way. I just think that Your Majesty has a lot of friends. Hesitant, so you don't need to take my only friend away from me. Indeed, did you sell it? Don't worry, Duke Ergi isn't my friend. And it's like you said. You wanted something that belonged to me, but I don't want anything of yours. What do you mean? I'm not desperate enough to steal from others. Your Majesty already has. Empress.
Would you mind lending me the flower of the desert?
The flower of the desert? That's the ring that the traitor WHO had traveled to LUIPT gave him.
If Your Majesty is after an enchanted ring with healing properties, I believe you already have one in your possession. That's true, but I don't have it at the moment. Do you really need it, Your Majesty?
Seems Rashta's hands must feel rough to the touch.
Of course I did. I'm sure you weren't expecting me to wear it myself. You did what? How did you?
You said it was for someone else. I doubt you would lend it to a noble. If you're certain that it will be returned, that means it must be for someone WHO is under your control. Which makes it obvious that it's for Rashta.
*****, I can lend it to you. Under one condition. What is it?
I want you to lend me one of your magical items in Return. I might want to lend it to someone else later.
What do you mean? WHO would you lend it to? I thought I told you yesterday.
Since you don't want me to spend time with a foreign companion, I will look for a local lover. So you mean to lend one of the Emperor's belongings to a man from our empire?
If you didn't want to lend me the ring, you could I have just said so. Do not speak of this again.
In the end, I wasn't able to eat much. I should ask Countess Eliza to get me some snacks.
Prince Heinrey? My queen. He's queen's subordinate.
That Gerd. Subordinate? Not his friend? It's not queen.
He's also queen's friend, but officially speaking, this bird is his subordinate. Do they?
Your birds have such a wide range of facial expressions. Queen makes a lot of surprised, disappointed, or embarrassed faces. This bird, on the other hand, looks angry. He's always like that. He looks sour all the time. Can I hug him?
No, you may not. Because he looks like he wants to return to his room.
He looks a little sluggish. Is he sick?
He's just putting it on as a form of protest. I'll have to ask later why he went off in a huff. You can talk to birds? If it turns out that he was angry because I stopped Your Majesty from hugging him, then I plan to smack him at least 10 times. Yes, I can. Why are you laliging?
It reminded me of what I do with Queen.
What do you mean? Sit down. How insolent.
I pat him from behind sometimes.
Oh, well, thank you.
He's got a very cute behind, after all. Did I put it too bluntly? He's more innocent than he appears.
Certainly, my queen. What is it? Actually, Prince Heinrey, there's something I wanted to ask you. I hope he didn't try to flirt with you.
I came across Duke Ergi yesterday. He didn't, but he did say something strange. He said that you were the one WHO invited him to come here.
Yes, I did. Our conversation was interrupted, but he was in the middle of saying that you had been preparing something for the last few years.
I think the thing you were preparing for the last few years is a plan. What kind of plan would that be? If we are really on the same side as you say, then you can't act like you're superior to me from now on.
So you can't tell me I'm being rude or anything like that. Got it? Fine, I understand. So have you made up your mind?
Not so fast. If you mess things up while doing something on my behalf, then I'll end up looking bad, won't I? You have to show me what you're capable of first, so I can tell if you're going to be useful. I think the thing you were preparing for the last few years is a plan. What kind of plan would that be?
Your Highness, did Her Majesty say something that upset you? Did something really happen? You know, McKenna. My feelings for her might run deeper than I thought. What do you mean? I think I said something I shouldn't have. Did you say something out of turn to Her Majesty? What if she starts becoming wary of me? If she stares deep into my soul with her piercing gaze? Don't tell me she found out that you can transform into a bird, Your Highness. No, it's not that. She found out about something else.
Lady Artina, there is something I want you to discreetly find out for me. What is it, Your Majesty? I need to know what Prince Heinrey and Duke Ergi have been up to. Ah, he's got that look on his face again. Want me to find out more about Duke Ergi, but, do you want me to investigate Prince Heinrey, too, Your Majesty? That's right, find out what they were up to before they attended the New Year's ceremony. In other words, I want to know what their movements were before they entered the palace. Of course, Your Majesty. The Western Kingdom poses the greatest threat to the Eastern Empire. But besides that, there's not much going on between us. I wonder what he's planning.
You're back sooner than I thought. Did you find out anything useful? Yes, I've found out something that is sure to be of interest. And it wasn't difficult to find. Read this. My queen, I don't want to lie to you. Oh, I thought the emperor taught you how to read. The beautiful Lady Nian, the young Marquis Tuaniawho entered a temple. It's a scandal that's featured heavily in this pamphlet. And Lady Nian's fiancé, Lord René.
But I asked you to find dirt on the Duchess.
The Lady Nian that they're talking about here is now known as Duchess Tuania.
She wasn't born a duchess. So does that mean the Marquis Tuania they're referring to here is now Duke Tuania?
The Marquis Tuania that they're talking about here was the eldest son of the late Duke Tuania. But now he is known as Lord Marius. I don't get it. What does all of this mean? I'll explain this to you using the titles that they are known by today. Really? Duke Tuania's older brother, Lord Marius, fell in love with his brother's fiancée, Duchess Tuania. Yes, Lord Marius wasn't even subtle about it, and it turned out that he and the Duchess were actually quite close. But when the Duchess ultimately chose to marry his brother, and Lord Marius was so shocked that he gave up his claim to the duchy as well as his right to the inheritance. And then he went to live in a temple. Why would he give up all of that simply due to shock? WHO knows, but the problem was, Lord Marius killed himself less than a week after he entered the temple.
But that's not something I can use against the Duchess. It's not like she killed him herself.
But you'll be interested in the rumor that followed his death. What rumor? The Duchess gave birth to a child just 7 months after the wedding.
I see, so he is being genuine with me. The family claimed that the baby was just born prematurely, but there were rumors that the baby was actually Lord Marius's child. Then the company that produced this pamphlet went Linder. Now this is something that I can use. So, what do you think? There's something else I want you to do for me.
Since we're on the same side now, you'll have to keep working for me, don't you think? Something else?
You said that Lord Marius killed himself in a temple, right? I want you to pay off some people who live near the temple to start a rumor. Yes, I want them to spread a rumor about how before Lord Marius killed himself, he was visited several times by a very beautiful noblewoman.
It seems you want to attack the Duchess, but do you think that rumor will be enough?
It should be more than enough. I'm sure the man WHO looks at Duchess Tuania with disdain at every party. But he is also definitely up to something. You don't have to answer me if it is difficult for you to do so. Is Duke Tuania? I'm sure it won't take much to set him off since it looks like he's already upset with the Duchess. If the rumor about the Duchess takes off, then the rumor that I'm a runaway slave should peter out. I have to find out more about the baby once I've taken care of this rumor. But I can't entrust that task to just anyone. Is there someone I can trust to find out the truth about the baby? Thanks to Your Majesty's generosity, a child from our orphanage was able to enter the Academy of Magic for the very first time. Please accept our sincere gratitude for your help and support. So she made it. I'll have to go to Will if I want to congratulate her in person. I'll have to discuss it with Sovieshu.
Did you find the Star of Red Flames?
I don't know if I can say I found it. To tell you the truth, I gave the ring to Rashta, but it turns out she didn't know what it was and gave it to some poor servant girl. She didn't know what it can do.
Well, so I told Count Firnir to find a similar ring. Anchet, and he brolight me this. He said he bought the ring from an auction last night.
Isn't this a strange turn of events? I suppose the servant girl must have sold Itbecalise she needed the money.
I think so, too. But I doubt this servant girl would have been able to sell a valuable item like this at a fair price. So I told the Count to find out how much she sold it for. It was a truly generous ACT by Rashta, so I want to make sure the girl WHO sold it is reimbursed properly for the ring. Are you feeling okay, Your Highness? I guess it didn't work? He even made me a CT like his pet bird to impress the Empress. Our Majesty, didn't you say that you gave the ring with the Star of Red Flames jewel to a servant girl?
Why are you asking me this all of a sudden? Did he find out that I gave it to the Viscount? If he did, the truth is, Your Majesty, that servant girl wasn't the only person I gave gemstone rings to. I gave one ring to a servant girl and another ring to Viscount Lotteshu. But they all look really similar to me, so. Fidget. I don't know if I gave the ring to the Viscount or to the girl.
Then why did you say you gave it to the servant girl?
I thought that Your Majesty would be upset if I told you that I gave it to the Viscount.
You're right. I am upset.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty. But I wanted to give him something because I was so thankful that he lied on my behalf.
He didn't do that for you. He only did it because he was forced to take responsibility for what he said. Yes.
Is that true?
Tell me, did you give it to him because he was actually blackmailing you?
Of course not. There's nothing he could use to blackmail me with.
He already told everyone that I used to be a slave. He really didn't blackmail me, Your Majesty. I'll trust you since you're denying it so firmly, but, Count Firnir, did you find out what I asked for? How much did the servant girl sell the ring for? The merchant said the seller sold it for a fair price.
If that man is blackmailing you, Rashta, I will. You should tell me instead of giving him anything, all right?
I beg your pardon? This is an order. No, I think it's best I check your jewelry box every day for a while. When you get your allowance for your dresses and accessories, I'll task Baron Londa with managing it.
It's just going to be until you're able to manage by yourself, so don't get too put out over it. Hesitant wait, if he does this.
If I won't be able to give anything to the Viscount because of this, I'm in big trouble. The magical city of Wilwol. Congratulations, Evalie.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
She's a good, talented kid.
Yes, I hope you will take good care of her. It worries me that the number of mages is falling every year.
I've heard about this. Have you not found out why yet? I'm afraid not. We have people investigating this everywhere, but it's the rate of children manifesting magical abilities that seems to be falling.
As mages become harder to find, this will heavily impact the strength of our military. What are these pictures?
These are the portraits of students WHO graduated at the top of their class. But he also said something strange. What do you mean? He said that the person WHO sold him the ring wasn't a servant girl. Grand Duke Kaufman. That's probably the dean. Why is that frame empty? Oh, it's someone WHO studied here briefly on an exchange program, but I left it empty because he wasn't formallyenrolled here.
He was at the top of his class even though he was just an exchange student? That's incredible. WHO was it? Well, awkward. It's Prince Heinrey from the Western Kingdom. It's the first time I've heard about this.
Well, it's a little embarrassing that he performed better than our regular students after all.
Plus, His Highness asked me not to tell anyone else. Then how are you allowed to tell me?
His Highness made a sudden visit yesterday. He told me that if there was a visitor WHO asked about the empty frame, then it was fine to tell them the truth.
I see. I thought he was in the palace when I left yesterday. How did he manage to get here so quickly?
Have a safe journey, Your Majesty. If the prince can use magic, then it might be tricky to find out what he's planning. I would never have dreamed of meeting you here. I stopped by because I have some important business to attend to. Then WHO was it? It feels like we were meant to meet each other when we keep running into each other like this. Can I ask what brings you here? The dean asked to see me.
His Highness made a sudden visit yesterday. That's not what the dean said. Could this also be part of his plan?
Since it's such a happy coincidence that we met, shall we dine together, my queen? Very well. I've always thought that.
You look a lot like Queen. Do I? Yes. I noticed you have blonde hair and he has yellow feathers, and you both have purple eyes.
Really? He said it was Viscount Lotteshu. Do you really think I look like a bird? He has such beautiful eyes that remind me of violets. Sparkle, your majesty, has anyone ever told you? I heard from the dean that you have an aptitude for magic. He said that you were at the top of your class here. Did he really say all that?
I've heard that every mage has a different magical specialty. Is that true? What's your specialty? Viscount Lotteshu would have nothing on me. If I could simply prove that the baby he's raising isn't mine. Arg, this is entirely the Viscount's fault. Your Majesty.
Rashta, there's something I need to ask you.
What is it, Your Majesty?
So, that wraps up this chapter, folks. I'm concluding the video right here. Stay tuned for the thrilling developments in the next episode. And don't forget to show your support with a like and subscribe, fueling my motivation to bring you even more captivating comic chapters in the future. Until next time, happy reading!